If you want to support the Missing Witches project, join the coven. Find out how at missingwitches.com.
Spirit is rising, she's rising, she's rising. The spirit is rising, it's rising, it's rising. The spirit is rising, they're rising, they're rising. The spirit is rising.
But that's why we do this. That's why we do this, so that we can be part of the solution instead of just sitting back and watching the problem and drinking champagne, right? This is why we do this. This is why we do this. This is why we're doing this. This is why
it's like... I mean, writing that Undammed River episode, I really did feel so hopeful, like, to see people's work over decades.
Yeah.
Decades, like 100 years of being pushed off land and violated and over, and then meeting again and again, bringing coalitions together again and again, going to court again and again, movements that people didn't like, gave up hope on, and then bringing together, like, the tribe hired whole networks of scientists to help them to show what really they thought would happen. And the Elwha River they'd made the same set of cases, but there was no evidence yet that it was really working. And now that Elwha River, they had their first ceremonial fishery returned to them, and to see those dams come down on the Klamath, and then to see like Indigenous led movements happening up in Northern Ontario and places they call the lungs of the world, the last undammed rivers in Ontario. Those coalitions are coming together right now, and they're saying the tide has turned, the government and everyone is on the same page that this area needs to be protected. We just have to do the complicated work of figuring out how. Like, that gives me a lot of hope. That image of those rivers running, like, it really does give me something. But man, it's hard to hold on to that.
I mean, we know that these things are all connected. We just have to look at the project where they reintroduced wolves into Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And it was like whatever the opposite of dominoes falling.
Right.
I don't know. Is there a word for that? Like, there must be, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I do know what you mean. I picture it like neurons all lighting up through a network, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that scientist said in the piece that I quoted, that they were able to see like salmon proteins and nutrients like a light through the entire ecosystem. Like, they were picking up traces of it in trees and in mosses and in birds and in wolves and in bears. Like, it just lights up the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're a part of that too.
You too. You too, listeners. I assume we're using some of this for the actual podcast at this point.
That sounds good to me. Hi, listeners.
Hi. Hi, friends. Hi, Coven. How are you? I'm sad.
And you have every right to be. Let's be honest about our emotions. Like, I feel like a lot of us have gotten into a lot of messes by being like, I'm fine, everything's fine. I'll drive myself to the doctor's appointment and then like have a panic attack on the drive home. Like...
I feel attacked by this remark since Amy's talking about something I just told her I did 5 minutes ago. It's true, though. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. So quick to feel like it'll all be okay and I'll just handle it all myself and it'll all be great.
Yeah. But sometimes we need help, and sometimes we need to help each other. And we can be a part of that reverse domino falling. Listeners, what's the word for the opposite of dominoes falling?
Yeah, tell us on social media or by email at missingwitches@gmail.com. Also, just write us letters about how you're feeling. It makes me feel better. I love hearing from you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, we're on a bum trip and we have every right to be, personally, politically, globally, environmentally. You can't feel like a shining ray of hope every minute of every day. It's just not how our humanity works. So that's what the prescription is about. You know, we don't come here to list atrocities because we know you know. We know you know what the fuck is going on in the world. We know you know what's happening to protesters across the world. And we want to help you feel less shitty. So that's what we do. And for me, and the reason that music is such a large component of the prescription is because that's where I go. That's where I go. And sometimes, I pull out a record because I know it's going to make me cry and I need to get those stress hormones out of my body. And that's actually what's happening when you cry is that stress hormones are leaving your body. It's very good to cry sometimes, not all the time. And then I have other records that, no matter what is going on in my head or in my body or in the world, can lift me up. And that's one of the records that I brought today. I'm going to hold up the sleeve so that Risa can see it. This is an album called Shankar Family and Friends. You've probably heard of Ravi Shankar. He sort of blasted into the American consciousness, I guess I'll say, in the 60s when he played at Monterey Pop Festival. He was tuning his sitar. And when he finished tuning, the whole crowd erupted in applause because they had never heard music like this. This was before the internet. Like we weren't just like getting global downloads all the time. So yeah, people were hearing this like kind of music for the first time. They didn't realize he was just tuning his sitar. They thought that he had, played a piece for them. And in a way, I guess, in an experimental way he had, but this particular album, maybe you're aware, maybe you're not, that George Harrison from the Beatles became a follower of Hinduism at a certain point in his life. It was very important to him to the point where after he died, his ashes were scattered in the Ganges. Like it was his fundamental belief system. So he produced this album. And Ravi Shankar wrote the songs and brought his whole family in to record them. But the record was produced by George Harrison. So it has this kind of like British pop aesthetic sentiment. And the song that I brought is called I Am Missing You. And it's a song for Krishna, which is a Hindu deity. If you're not familiar, Krishna is the Hindu god of like protection, compassion, tenderness, and love. And this song was sung by Lakshmi Shankar, a member of Ravi Shankar's family. And the lyrics are I am missing you. Oh, Krishna, where are you? Though I can't see you, I hear your flute on the wind. Please come wipe my tears and make me smile.
Please come wipe my tears and make me smile. Please come
And
wipe my
I'm not a deist. I don't think, even though it can be useful to put these qualities of compassion into a god and then pray to that god, what I find to be more useful is not to deify, but to reify, to take an abstract concept and make it concrete, make it real. And so when I listen to that song, and my prescription for this week is that you listen to this song and think about ways that you can not deify, but reify, that you can make concrete these abstract concepts of protection and compassion and tenderness and love. And if you get a little sprinkling of, George Harrison and Ravi Shankar collaborating in a musical way to help you along that path, then by all means use whatever tools you have. But I feel like if we are deifying these concepts, like I feel like that too, like compassion, protection, love, tenderness. I am missing you. Where are you? I look around the world and I'm like, compassion, love, tenderness, protection. Where are you? I'm missing you. But then I think, though I can't see you, I hear your flute on the wind. And like, let's think about that too, this notion of hope as being a slight flute that you can just hear on the wind. And maybe you can't see the flute player, but there is hope. There is a flute on the wind, and we can allow it to wipe our tears and make us smile. So that's my prescription this week.
That's so lovely. I'm going to be listening for it. I'm certainly somebody who like will go outside and then when the wind comes, I feel very like, oh, okay, she's here. Like she's still here. Sometimes she's pissed, but she's here.
And even when the wind is pissed, like when the wind is particularly strong, I really get that like wind of change
Mm-hmm.
feeling. Like a change is coming. This is the
Mm-hmm.
wind of change. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I do. I do. Here's a song I prescribed to myself today after I woke up seeing that video of the Emory professor getting her head smashed into the concrete by the cops called on peaceful protesters, and I just lost it. I went back to the Resistance Revival chorus, and this song, there's joy in resistance. It's just, it's just like a mantra, and I really, I'm so emotional today, guys. I'm so sorry, but the lyrics just
I
repeat.
have to interrupt you. You can tell me the lyrics in a second, but like listeners, I'm going to tell this to Risa, but you can hear it from me too. Don't apologize for being emotional. You have every fucking right to be emotional. And especially as feminized people, we're told that we're too emotional. Meanwhile, men are raging out and throwing things, but somehow rage and anger don't qualify as an emotion. You know, if you are weeping today, you've got every fucking right. Please never apologize for being emotional. Unless that emotion manifests in like violence and rage, then please apologize to everyone you know.
So far, it's just going to be sloppy sounding on a podcast, so I think that
Yes.
should be all right.
Let's hear the
Uh,
lyrics.
it just repeats what the world needs now is joy and resistance. We will fight the good fight with or without your assistance. Move out of the way if you can't support the mission. What the world needs now is joy and resistance.
What the world needs now is hope and resistance. What the world needs now is joy and resistance.
And then it's faith and resistance and love and resistance and hope and resistance. And it's just so beautiful. It's just that, again, it's sort of similar to what you're saying. Like, it's a gospel choir, and there is no music that can make me feel as uplifted and connected and emotional as a gospel choir, especially when they aren't singing about God, because that doesn't really connect for me in a way. But when they're singing about love and resistance, I feel what some people I think feel when they think about Jesus, especially the peacemaking Jesus, the Jesus that made sense to me when I was a kid. Like I when I hear voices singing together about, like what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing. There's just too little love, or all we need is love, or countless songs sung by a building crowd, a choir of people calling out for these like fundamental truths. And our kids know them, My little kid started a protest at her school with the other children of angry anarchists stomping around holding their shovels in the air like they were signs, yelling first for the poor because she found out about homeless people, the unhoused crisis. She met an unhoused person and started a revolution at her hippie school. Every kid knows, recognizes injustice, looks at the world and is like, this is unnecessary and bullshit. And I feel that so strongly. So it is medicine for me to go back to a choir of powerful voices, women and non-binary and queer people coming together to sing that what the world needs now is joy in resistance. It's that hopefulness in that for me, that I'm not gonna collapse into sorrow. I'm gonna go through sorrow back to a joyful resistance with other people who feel the same way I feel, because we're not alone. She said, squeaky and weepy.
And I guess like since we're coming up on the 1st of May pretty soon, I'll plug the fundraiser. Every year we do a fundraiser for Native women's shelters. We pay forward our earnings for the month of May, we being Risa and myself, Missing Witches Project, to the Native Women's Shelter of Montreal. So if you're feeling like, okay, great, Amy and Risa, like, but I don't know what to do or how to do it, um, take a look locally for your local Indigenous support organization. Or if you have loved ones that mean something to you in basically any part of the world that is in a humanitarian crisis, there are many. Um, make a small donation, knowing that you could win a prize is a little bit of another reason to do that. But I think about like when we spoke to Nikki Sanchez, and Nikki Sanchez was like, at this point, it doesn't matter why you're doing it. Like, you have to do something, and it doesn't matter why. And Sister Roma, who is one of the founding members of the Sisterhood of Perpetual Indulgence, one of the greatest American philanthropists, you know, not in a rich person giving money way, but in a like showing up and showing up and showing up kind of way. And Sister Roma said the same thing. She was like, volunteer so you can post it on Facebook and feel good about yourself and get some likes. Like, it doesn't matter why you're doing it as long as you're doing it. And that's that kind of, um, you know, asking Krishna, where are you? And then finding Krishna in yourself, I think is maybe the point of it all.
Yeah, I was on a podcast recently. We were get invited to be guests, and um it was like a business podcast, and one of the closing questions was like, what do you recommend our listeners do that are starting a business or whatever? What's like a witchy practice? And all I could think to say was like, bake your reparations in, because when you have a crisis of what the fuck am I doing with my life, and is this enough, and I'm trying so hard to build this thing, and what is the point of it anyway, having reparations baked into your business will offer you this web, this net that you kind of can rest your anxieties in, that like, at least this one thing, like at least my work does this one thing. At least I build my community, and together we care about, I know we all care about this reparations fundraiser. We've done it together for years now. All of the money that Amy and I donate in the month of May comes entirely from our community subscriptions. That's where all that money comes from. So every member of our community, you are already active in our reparations fundraiser. If you decide to join, you will be contributing to our reparations fundraiser. If you find a Native support org, or you want to support Native Women's Shelter of Montreal, we love being fairies for them. Or this year, we're following the leadership of Indigenous communities who have been on the front lines of protests for Palestine and for displaced people, forcibly displaced people around the world. So if you want to make a donation to an organization that supports Palestine or displaced people, we will include those in the fundraiser this year. And it is the hugest relief in my life that we have that be a part of our work here. So thank you.
Yeah. And you could win a prize.
A lovely prize. And everybody gets a discount code.
Yeah. House Witch in Salem, Massachusetts is involved. So even if you don't win a prize, you'll get a discount code from them. But we will be covering all these details in the coming days and weeks. You can go to our website as of May 1st and take a look at the whole list of prizes. We actually already got an email with a donation. So if you want to be an early bird, make a donation of $10 or more, send us a screenshot of the receipt, missingwitches@gmail.com. We love you. We're missing you. Please come wipe my tears and make me smile. Be joyful and resistant and resilient. And also, it's okay to cry. Please be emotional and weep. You have every fucking right.
I'm
And blessed to fucking be.
The world's dripping through me, and my life is all to me. I love myself and all me. I love myself and all of me, all of me. I love myself and all of me. Love myself and all of me. I love myself and all of me.
If you want to support the Missing Witches project, join the coven. Find out how at missingwitches.com.